Hey everyone, Jeremy here. It is Thursday night and we're going to create some art. It's going to be awesome. I always have to remind myself what day it is because I forget. I forget all the time. But that's okay. I'm glad that you guys are here, sticking with our whole doing it at least 2 times a week again after taking a break from last week. I think tonight's going to be kind of cool. I was wondering what I wanted to work on tonight, and I kind of wanted to do like a simple, like pencil drawing, kind of like on the realism side, and I kind of struggled with what I might want to draw tonight. I still have that the watercolor painting of the dogs that I still have to complete, but I wanted to go a different route tonight. And when I was thinking about what I wanted to do, like as a pencil drawing, I was thinking back to that eye I did a little while back. That I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed doing that in pencil. So I thought I might do a cat eye this time and just see how that goes. So if that's cool with you guys, if you're into that, then let's get started, I guess. There's a couple of people in the room already, so let me give a shout out. We've got Rome Dog in the house. We've got Kid in the house. We've got Larry, who's MIA. Hopefully he'll be joining us at some point because we do miss you and we are concerned. So you let us know. In the meantime, I'm going to jump right in. Yeah. So like, I was thinking cat eyes would be kind of cool because I really enjoy drawing pets. I want to get into some of the realistic details. A lot of the pet drawings that I do are kind of on the whimsical and abstract side, which is fun. But I still want to bring that realistic element to it. So I think this would be a cool exercise for that. So as you can see, I kind of already sketched out where I kind of want the eye to be. So we're going to have like an eye here, nose here, and a mouth here. Kind of like a bit of an extreme close-up just to focus on these features. I think it'll be fun. Anyway, I'm just gonna jump right in. Hopefully, you guys are doing well. We're starting out on a 3-day weekend. This is gonna be great. There's a long weekend coming up, so I'm pretty excited for that. So I am doing this with pencils, but I'm gonna use a little bit of charcoal just to get some kind of tone in here to start with. So let me move this out of the way. This is gonna be in my way otherwise. These are Derwent pencils, by the way, so give a shout out to Derwent. I always like Derwent. Geppetto is gonna and all the blood rush to his head. Yeah, he's been drinking rum lately, so he's a little sideways. I've been trying to get him to drink the bourbon, but he won't do it. He likes the rum. So a little bit of difference between us. So I'm just using this little blending stump as a pencil to kind of get some solid areas in here. Definitely not worried about details at this point. Want to keep things light. I can always erase these things later, but I figure get started with the big old eyeball and stuff and then just kind of move from there. Yeah, I am like me. I don't know. Like maybe he said he was going on vacation this week or something. I mean, he's only been gone a few days and stuff. I'm not really worried about him yet, but you know, Larry lives in gator country, so we get a little worried about it. And I don't know if it's a joke that he wrestles gators, but we've all come to believe that he wrestled gators. So we're always a little bit concerned that he got eaten by a gator. He lives in, I think Central Kentucky, Central Florida. I don't know if he said exactly where, but I think that that's definitely gator country down there. Hopefully this doesn't drag on too long. Like I'm not worried about it taking too long because I do want to get the detail in there. I'm just kind of a little bit concerned about things like the texture of fur that might be in here. Get a little worried about that sometimes. Northeast Florida. Oh, okay. Like what's up northeast? Is that like Fort Lauderdale or something like that up there? Brett Favre, I always pronounce that wrong, had 4 dogs eaten by alligators in Kiln, Mississippi. I didn't know that, Packer Jack. Packer Jack always has the best trivia and best dad jokes. We like Packer Jack. Yeah, I had no idea about that. I don't follow sports, so I don't follow people's pets, I guess. I really like starting my drawings out with the blending stump. Like if there's anybody out there who's an aspiring artist wondering where to get started on a picture, I like doing this because it kind of gives you a base to work with. You go in and you put, some random areas in pretty quickly doing this, and then you can kind of build up detail on top of it. But like as your base layer, I guess this is pretty good. Now I am using charcoal on here out of convenience, but you can use graphite powder, or I guess you could use like a graphite pencil as well. I like to keep everything the same medium. Like I'm not into like the whole mixed medium thing if I can avoid it, but little things like this, I don't think nobody's grading me. This picture is never going to end up in like a museum or anything like that where it has to be super consistent. But you can see I can get some features in here pretty quick this way, which is nice because like then I know how to build up from there with detail. So this is one of those kitties that has like the little tiger stripes up here at the top. I've had a number of kitties like this over the years. They all kind of basically look the same, which is like you've seen one, you've seen them all. They all I don't even know the type of cat, but they all have these like little tiger stripes and stuff. In fact, the first cat I had was I forget the first cat's name, but then we had a cat that we named Sequel just because it looked just like the other ones. I did kind of tape this off so that I get like a nice clean edge. I did that as well with the human eye that I did, and I thought that was kind of cool. Because it is kind of fun to not, to go for a composition that is kind of like zoomed in like this. I think that's fun. Kind of makes it a little bit more interesting than drawing like a full cat's head or something like that. Like I drew a picture of a girl once that was just her belly, and it was focusing on this like belly piercing, um, and I thought that was so cool because like you didn't have to draw like the entire person to kind of illustrate just like one little feature, which was like the belly piercing. This was a number of years back. I don't even know if I still have that picture, but I always thought that was kind of cool. So like in this case, I really want to kind of put a lot of detail into the eye if I can. So I really want the eye to be much larger than I would normally draw it. Just, little ways of thinking about your composition. Brett Favre. I don't know how to pronounce that. Favre. I've heard the name many times. I don't know if I can. I struggle sometimes pronouncing people's names. I'm just not a name person. Like, this is why I like meeting people in public. It's like, hey, you, you don't have to refer to them by name. I'm constantly running into people, even people I've known for like years and stuff. I'm just not very good with names. So I'm like, dang, what is that person's name? And like, say I'm at a party or something like that. I'll be obsessing about it throughout the entire party. Like, man, what was that person's name? I should know this person's name. And I'll either remember it on the way home or somebody else will mention their name and I'll be like, oh, you're so and so, Like if their name was like John or something, I'm like, oh, John, hey, how's it going? And like I go from saying, hey, you to John. I just repeat John all night. Like looking like a character from Avatar. Yeah, like the what is it? The Naboo? Is that how that's pronounced? Yeah, I think they were inspired by cats, so I'll take that as a compliment. Or Naboo might be the place they live. I don't remember. I've never seen Avatar 2. I kind of somehow missed that one. I would love to see that. I heard it was good. People seem to enjoy it. I don't know how I ended up missing it. I guess it came out probably at a time when I was just like super busy. I like to go see movies in the theater or like not at all. Um, because the problem is like maybe they'll come out like on a streaming platform and I'll watch them eventually. But the problem is if I don't go see them in theaters, it may be like a year or two before I finally get around to watching them. they'll just like sit in my queue or something like that. And the problem is like there's so many different streaming services that like I forget which one's on which, and I don't know. I've got a bunch of movies kind of like queued up that I want to watch. Like there's this one where I might watch this weekend actually. There's one where Owen Wilson plays kind of like I don't know if he plays Bob Ross or if he plays a character inspired by Bob Ross, but it's on Hulu, and I think it's called like not Hulu, Hulu's. Sorry. It's on. I always mix that up. I'm always calling Hulu because of Hulu, the person. Anyway, the I think it's called Paint, and it's on Hulu. I've been wanting to see that forever. That's a perfect example of something that's been in my queue for like a long time, and I just probably haven't done. I still haven't seen Oppenheimer, and I mean that movie came out forever ago and got so many awards and stuff. I feel like I should see it, but I feel like that's one of those things you have to kind of be in the mood to see. I don't like probably like a depressing movie. I don't know. Yeah, no sign of OK Larry yet, Lorraine. I wouldn't worry too much though. It's only been a week. People take vacations and stuff. We are coming up on like Labor Day, so maybe he took the week off. Oh, shush, Kitty. Kitty's upset I'm not drawing him. So again, I'm not worried about detail at this point. I'm just trying to get like a lot of area in fairly quickly. I think this is a good approach to drawing in general. Like if I was sitting in a pub somewhere or something trying to draw like a person, I still want to kind of get back into drawing people, but I don't know, I just kind of suck at it, so I haven't been messing with that too much. I mean, okay, so I think I did say that if he didn't show up today, I would shoot him an email because I do have his email. I'll reach out to him. Although I don't expect him to reply to his email either if he's on vacation or something. But maybe it's the Gator Rattling Nationals. Yeah, he's probably at one of those things. Man, I would love to like wrestle some gators. They have those little tourism spots and stuff where you can watch people wrestle gators. I wonder if that's something anybody can participate in. I feel like that should be like an Olympic competition. We need to marshal for that to happen. Like the next Olympics are in LA, so they're going to be in the United States. They don't have to hop on a plane and travel across the seas to go and see them. I've got that on my list. Like I don't know if I'm going to actually accomplish that goal, but I don't know. Like when I was a kid, I didn't really pay attention to the Olympics, but since being an adult, I kind of wanted to go to the Olympics. So that's kind of on my list. And LA is not that far. I mean, you could drive there in a week if you really wanted to, but by plane it's like 5 hours for me, I think, maybe six. I've been to California like twice, LA once, and I kind of liked it. It's not for everybody. I realize that, you know, you either like California or you don't. But I've always liked the people out there at least. The people are like really laid back. Of course, it's been like at least a decade since I've been to California, so things change a lot quickly. Like when I went to San Francisco, I think it was 2012. I imagine that place is completely different. 11 hours from where you live? Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, maybe you might want to go see the Olympics. I always thought the Olympics is so cool. I just like the idea of the Olympics. Um, as much as the world's in turmoil in various different areas, the Olympics is great because people set that aside, you know. Um, I mean, not always. Like, I think some countries are banned from the Olympics because of like their policies or whatever. But by and large, people countries seem to get along. Like, we're not here in the United States. We're not 100% on board with China. Um, like there's a there's kind of like at least a little bit of a competitive nature between the U.S. and China in many different ways. But when it comes to the Olympics, they're all just athletes, and they take it out on the field versus, I don't know. I just think that's kind of cool. I like the spirit of the Olympics. And I don't really pay attention to sports all that much. Like sports ball is not my thing because I'm a big nerd. But when it comes to like the Olympics and stuff, I do pay attention, and I do get into the sports activity of it. Like I'm not against sports as a concept. I'm just against me doing activity myself. I don't know. I like to exercise, but as far as like actually competing in sports and stuff, that's not that's not really my thing. But I respect the other people who are into that. Like I do realize that in this country, football is like a big deal. Hey, kitty, come to see the drawing. Look, kitty down here. You want to come up here? This cat never comes on my lap. I know you're bored. Just go take a nap. Can you guys hear that cat? It's amazing. Like that's Archer, by the way. Some of you guys have seen Archer. I don't, I tried to draw Archer once. It didn't really work out. I need to try that again. It was a while back. I think maybe I've gotten a little bit better since then. Yeah, you can hear the kitty. She, he's just going around like I always like call him a she sometimes. So you might hear me accidentally call him a she. I get not mixed up on the pronouns and stuff, but like, okay, all right. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna go put the cat out real quick. Obviously, he's not happy. So give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Sorry about that. False alarm. Kitty didn't want to leave. Anywho, now when I go to create a short, I have to remember to take that clip out. That sucks. Anyway, yeah, cats kind of just do their own thing. This cat has a bit of a personality. Oh, you can hear her again. Yes, yes. So what's cool about using the blending stump for these areas is you can kind of get some really soft areas in pretty quick. I think you drew Archer looking at a Christmas tree. I did draw a cat looking at a Christmas tree that was inspired by Archer. It wasn't necessarily Archer himself. He's not a. I think that one was a long-haired cat. Archer's just like regular haired. But yeah, it was definitely inspired by Archer. It's just a orange cat. Your typical orange cat. More like a orange creamsicle. He's got like a lot of white on him. But yeah, I think that one actually turned out really well. I really need to get back into like painting like that because that one, I was happy with that. I was happy with the those little illustrations I did for Halloween. If you guys remember those three that were in kind of like a series, I thought those were really cool. Those were ones that I was kind of proud of. Like, I probably would never create a like a children's book, but I always thought that those could like go in a children's book or something like that. Problem with the children's book is you have to kind of write a story that goes along with it. I wouldn't even know where to begin on that. I guess Chat GPT or something. I don't know. I can write. I can write a story. I just don't know how to write a children's story. I can write like a detective story, I think. Like, Orange Creamsicle is my rap name. I love it. That's a good rap name. It does look good though. Like orange, like so there's you guys know what a float is, right? Like a root. root beer float. I'm sure people have heard of it, even if they haven't had one. So what I've always liked is the orange soda float, where you have like white, like vanilla ice cream floating in like an orange soda. All you need is a cute animal solving a mystery. Oh yeah, that's a cool idea. Like especially for like a children's story, it can be like a simple mystery, like um, I don't know, like a cat looking for uh, his mittens or something. I don't know. I'll put more thought into it, but yeah, you're right. It could just be like a simple story. I mean, kids don't care, you know. Like the best thing about a children's story is like they're not going to judge you a trash panda mystery. Absolutely. You know what I've fallen in love with recently, and I have to remember to draw this. Is the red pandas. Those things are adorable. Uh, I saw some video of the red pandas on Reddit recently. Ah, it's just those things are super cute. I always want to draw cute things. Like I was gonna draw a seal today just because they're adorable, but there's not much to draw. They're just kind of like these blobs with eyes. I don't know how to draw a seal in an interesting way. I'll have to put some thought into that. But red pandas, oh, they're adorable. Yeah, pandas getting into trouble for real. That would be a great story. I don't know where red pandas are from. So like if they're from like Asia or something like that, I probably couldn't. I'd have to create like an Asian story just to incorporate those, but definitely a trash panda. I do like raccoons. Raccoons are my spirit animal. Yeah, I really am into drawing cute things. I mean, it's kind of like a lazy drawing in my opinion. But you know, I'm joking, but it is true that you know, if you draw something cute, that's half the work. You know, if you want to draw something that people enjoy looking at, draw something that's cute. You know, because like that takes some of the pressure off. Like people judge it on a curve. They 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 look at your crappy drawing and they're like, oh, that's adorable. Like this picture can not be perfect just because it's a cat, you know? People like cats. Well, most people like cats. Not everybody likes cats. But that's okay. Cats don't like most people. If you get a cat to like you, then you must be special. Like if any of you guys out there in the world have a cat and the cat likes you, my cat doesn't like me. My cat just hangs out with me. Um, if you can get a cat to like you must be a decent human being. Like if you're ever wondering, like, am I a good person? See if a cat likes you, because cats are picky. Dogs will love anybody. You know, you get a dog if you want to feel loved, and you don't want to put a lot of effort into it. You have to work for a cat's affection. Like cats are discerning. Dogs are not. Dogs don't care. They're just like, you know, they like everything. I do like cats though. I've always liked cats. All right, so now that I've got this kind of like idea of where everything is, I'm going to put that to the side. I may come back to that blending stump in the future, depending on how things go. But I kind of want to get into this eyeball here a little bit and see if I can. Let's see, got a couple pencils here. So the trick with these pencils, if you don't already know, most people do, is that you buy them in a set, and they range from different softnesses. And the harder it is, the darker, well, the harder it is, the lighter it's going to be. The higher the number, the softer it's going to be, and those are going to be your really dark lines. So, for example, I've got a 9B here, so that's going to be really dark. So I'm going to use that, and I'm going to come in here and do, you know, these dark areas of the eyes. So like the iris, I guess, or pupil. Sorry, pupil. I can remember my body parts here. So this would be straight up black. So I'm going to use this really dark. And I have to kind of lean to the side because of my lights here and stuff. The problem with graphite, this is why I like charcoal better. The problem with graphite is that it's reflective. I don't like that. I don't like that it's reflective. I'd rather have like just straight up non-reflective black. And Jay says, "Hey Jeremy, I like your cat. Thank you." Rome says, "I like to call our new car a dog, so she'll fetch for me." Nice. But these cats, it's almost like they wear eyeliner. They got these really black areas around their eyes, which is cool. I mean, dogs do too, but yeah, I know, kitty. You could have been outside. I went to go put you outside and you didn't want to go. I don't want to hear it. You had a chance. Oh, now you're going back talk, huh? That's not a very good argument. You think you're winning this debate, but you're not. I like to talk to my animals. I talk to them all the time, like throughout the day. I mean, and I guess I guess they're kind of one-sided conversations, but to me they're not. This cat certainly had a lot to talk about. Kid, I couldn't take Mario. I started having a panic attack. That doesn't sound good. Meow. So little rim on the bottom here, and then this top part is mostly like just where the fur is kind of dipping down. And I'll kind of bring this across here. I think if I can get the eye looking really good, that's like the main goal. If I can get the eye looking really good, I'll consider this a success. But then I also kind of want to bring it out away from the eyes as well and get some of these other areas looking really good. So I'm going to use my eraser here, which has like a sharp edge, and kind of better define some of this highlight. And then I kind of want like a medium. I'll do like a 2B. This is like so 2B is your like regular pencil that you have in school. So like if they always talk about the number two pencils for the tests and stuff. Actually, I don't know. Like maybe people take tests on like iPads nowadays, but back in my day in school, you always had to have a number two pencil so that you can fill in those little ovals on the test. So a number two pencil is this 2B here. It's your basic pencil that you have in school. And it makes really like I'm gonna say medium marks. So like you don't have to apply a lot of pressure to get some lead out of it, but it's not like super dark either. Cat, nobody is interested in what you have to say. I know that you have opinions about this drawing I'm doing, but you can keep them to yourself. Don't nail me. You can't even see the picture. How are you supposed to judge it? Who asked you? You should be happy I'm drawing a cat at all. Yeah, I could be drawing a dog tonight. You don't get to scratch at the door again because I was going to put you out and you refused. You went and hid underneath the cushion over here. So the whole trick is that you just spend your time with it. You're not in any rush. I'm not in any rush. I've got nowhere to be. We're just hanging out, having a conversation. This is a pretty simple drawing. It's not crazy. There's no extra colors in it or anything like that. We're just taking our time, adding details as we can, building things up. It's fun. What I like about drawing pictures like this is that they really are just like things you can do while watching TV, while thinking about other things. Like, in a sense, this is meditation, you know, like because you're just clearing your thoughts except for what you're drawing. So you notice how I put those marks down and now I'm kind of like blending them in. The reason why is because the inside of the eye is like super, super like soft. Like everything's just kind of blended together. There's some details that kind of go over this, but you want this to kind of look glassy. So, Jeremy, where's the rest of the cat? He's picking through like a little mouse hole. I don't know. I just made that up, but it sounds cool. The rest of the cat is in the kitchen. He's looking through like a little mouse hole for Mickey. That's where the rest of the cat. Or this is Tom, and he's looking for Jerry. You kind of have to move to the side because of this glare. I really don't like that aspect of these pencils. There are some pencils I heard. I have never used them, but I've seen other people use them that do not reflect light, which I think is awesome. Like graphite that doesn't reflect the light around it. That's really good, especially like for my setup because I have like some lamps up here and stuff that are probably doing more harm than good. But I think that's looking pretty good. All right, so there is this like I'm gonna use a kneadable eraser just so I can kind of try to do this fine line. So there is like these veins in the eye that require kind of like a little bit of highlight through here. I guess I can draw those in first. So kitties have veins in their eyes that are like super subtle. Like if I was drawing a normal cat and it wasn't so zoomed in, I would not even bother with these lines. But you know how like humans have like bloodshot eyes. Well, cats do too. You know, they stay out drinking all night. They say they stay out like howling at the moon. I guess that would be dogs. That would be cats. What do cats do? They sit out on the in the alley on the fence and just meow all night at the moon, and they get these little bloodshot eyes. That's my joke. So these like little veins kind of go through their eyes, and again, I wouldn't draw these except that we're super zoomed in. A little dark one up here. It's kind of hard to see on camera, but those are really cool. There you go, kitty. All right, and then I'm going to like now reflective graphite would be awesome. Hmm. I like I like drawing in charcoal better, but when it comes to like details and stuff like that, I'm a graphite person. Um, for some reason, maybe it's just the charcoal I have. I can't ever get the kind of detail that I want in charcoal, and it's probably like user error. It probably has nothing to do with the medium itself. It's just that I can't do it. Get some little fur lines coming off here. Yeah, that's looking pretty cool. Looking like a kitty cat. All right, so what's next? I think I might come back to this eye at some point, but I'm pretty happy with it so far, so I'm not going to tinker with it too much yet. Kind of work on some of these other pieces of the puzzle. So I think I'm going to work on the nose as being the next thing that probably your eyes would be drawn towards. Even though it's not really a focus of this particular drawing, like I could care less about the nose. But since it's here, let's go ahead and get the nose looking right. Kitty. Kitty. Come here. You don't have to act like you're in prison or anything. You were free to go. You chose not to. Now you have to wait. This cat gets so upset. I don't know if you guys have animals like that. It's like when the doors open, they want it closed. When the doors close, they want it open. I had a cat once that hated closed doors. Like he would just go around and just scratch at every door that was closed. I miss that cat. That cat was the best. Hey, Warhorse Kabar. I haven't caught a stream in a while. Geppetto has eyes now. Yeah, you can see you. Well, welcome back. I appreciate you stopping in. Yeah, I figure people come and go. I think it's seasonal actually. So like I know that like some of the kids I think they get busy during the summer, but they come back during the winter. But it's always fun to host you guys whenever you do stop in. So I appreciate it. And yeah, Geppetto's got eyes now. But you remember Geppetto's name. That's cool. So you couldn't have been gone too long. Yeah, he's got eyes now. I think that's been the case for, I don't know, 2, 3 months now. It's been a little while. That was a suggestion from Kid. Kid suggested that I give him eyes. And then I was at the store and I saw those googly eyes. And I'm like, yeah, that's perfect. You're okay, Kitty. Give me 1 second to put this cat out. That cat's not going to stop until I do. All right, 1 second. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Since we are checking tech, do you have robots? I would love to have a robot. I have I would love to have a drone. I have a little quadcopter. It's not much like a gust of wind will like blow off course and stuff, but it does have a camera on it and it's pretty nice. It's just hard to keep still, like especially like in a big gust of wind. I would love to have a drone that I can use to kind of like go out and take some pictures of the countryside. I like to hike, so it would be kind of cool to hike to the top of a mountain and then have a drone fly out and take some extra footage. I spent a lot of time on YouTube watching those types of videos. Like I don't know if you guys ever watch these, but they're like aerial shots of like different towns and cities and stuff like that. Like whenever I feel like I want to travel somewhere to like Europe or something like that, or just even places in the United States that I plan to visit, I'll go and virtually visit them first through like YouTube, and it's usually one of these drone aerial type videos. Anyway, I would love to contribute to that by having my own, and one of these days I'll get around to picking one up. The one I have now is just like a little quadcopter, and like I said, a big gust of wind or something will blow it away. It's still fun to fly. Like I like to fly it through obstacles and stuff, especially inside the house. You built two dog robots? Oh, that's cool. I would love to see your dog robots. So even though this is going to be fur and I don't really need to blend it too much, I'm going to blend it a little bit just to kind of make it this like area of color essentially. Because like the nose is a little bit different than the face here and, across the eyebrows and stuff. You got some shadow in here, and I think it's just a different color of fur in general. It kind of looks a little bit reddish. I know it doesn't matter because I'm drawing it, this is monochrome, but it kind of looks a little reddish to me. Now, what I would do, those of you who are aspiring artists and want to learn, what I would do if I had the tools, which I don't, they have these really fine erasers. They would be great for doing like little highlights of fur throughout here. I don't have that. So what I need to do is kind of like try my best with like the edge of either a kneadable eraser where I have a very fine chisel tip that I make. That's what's cool about these like kneadable erasers. So it's not going to be perfect, but you can get, some decent fur in there. And then the other thing, like if you don't, none of this is showing up on camera anyway, but the other thing is if you have one of these erasers, I don't like using these as much because they do leave like residue on the paper and stuff like that, but you know, you can kind of control that. But if you use like a corner of this, then you essentially have that sort of fine point, and you can kind of like curve this into a fine point even if you didn't. So you can get one of those fine point erasers and stuff like that, which is pretty convenient. But if you can't afford one or just want to torture yourself like I do, you can use one of these and carve it to what you're wanting to do. But anyway, I'm not too worried about it. I'm looking for realism in this, but not like ultra realism, because I don't have the time for it. This will be complete in under 2 hours. Try to see one of those guys that go for like the photorealism, complete their thing in under 2 hours. They're not going to be able to do it because I don't know. They just spend way more time on it than I'm going to muster up here. Like they could easily spend, I don't know, several days on it or something like that. Meanwhile, I'm going to create something that looks very, very realistic without spending that much time. I'm going to spend some time on it, but it's not going to be a several day thing. And really, the way you make something look really realistic is that you do kind of build up these layers. So I like to have, I don't know, at least 3 layers of stuff. And when I call them layers, it's not like they have to be actual layers that I'm putting down. It's just visual layers, right? So the visual layers are, you have this kind of blended out background, like here, this kind of blended out background. That's like layer 1. And then layer 2 would be shadows on top of it. So I'll come in and over this blended background, I'll put in, some semi-detailed fur. And then over that, I may either leave spots that are white or put back in areas that are white as highlights. So those 3 layers are the essentials. And you can, definitely go like much further than that. But as long as you have those in there, you're going to have a realistic looking picture, I think. Well, if you draw a realistic looking picture, I'm just saying that like those are necessary for a realistic picture. And while it's not going to be super photorealistic, like if somebody looks at it like under a microscope or something, they're going to be able to tell that it was drawn. It'll still, from a distance, look pretty much like a photo, especially if like you're holding it out really far. And also if you're blind or wear glasses and you take your glasses off, if you wear glasses and you take your glasses off, it's going to look perfect. Um, oh, you were watching previously as Relentless. I remember that. Okay, cool. Um, Rome Dog says, Jeremy, I got some Prisma colored pencils. Nice. Oh, a Prisma colored pencil eraser the other day. It doesn't get it at all, but it does the best job out of erasers. Nice. Cool. I really like the Prisma colored pencils. they are Prisma in general makes very, very good supplies. So Prisma, if you're watching this, send me some free supplies so I can like hype you up. But yeah, for sure. Um, I'm very happy with Prisma products. I don't spend a lot of time worrying about the brand of different products that I use. It's just basically like, can I make a picture out of it? Cool. If so, then you know, yay. But some of these brands I do actually really enjoy and would kind of hype up if I could. Again, nobody sponsors me, so this is just my actual opinion. I'm not saying these things because somebody's paying me to, but um, Derwent pencils. These are really good. Good. So I've got these Derwent pencils that I draw with, and then my pastel pencils, my really good pastel pencils. Those are also Derwent. So I can highly recommend Derwent. Derwent's a cool company. Just Dave actually lives near the plant. He's in here sometimes. He's a fan of the show. He lives near the plant where they make these pencils in the UK, and he goes there and he takes the tour of the place and stuff like that. And he told me how cool that was. Um, but yeah, I'm a fan of Derwent for sure. I'm a fan of Prismacolor, especially when it comes to colored pencils, just because like they're so easy to work with. They're wax based. There's like a lot of pigment in them. You can use them so that like you create transparent layers on top of each other, but then you can also really press things in and create these really solid areas as well. Um, so I love Prismacolor. Can't get enough of them, and I also love Derwent. So those are my two big brands that I can recommend. The other stuff that I use, I mean, they're nice and everything, but I couldn't tell you what brand they were. I don't pay attention. There's just some things that I constantly come back to, and those are the ones that I'm happy to recommend. The other stuff, you're on your own. But anyway, I think this little guy's looking pretty cool. I love drawing cats. Even though probably my viewers really like my dog pictures or my wildlife pictures in general and stuff, I really like drawing cats. They've got really cool faces and really cool facial features, especially like when you zoom in like this and stuff. You can really get lost in some of these features. You know, you're drawing a human eye and stuff. There's really just the eye and maybe the eyebrow, and then you have to move into other places like the nose and the lips and things like that to actually get some details in there. When it comes to like animals that have furry faces that are so full of detail, like these kitty cats, they're so much fun to draw. I just like drawing fur faces because I like petting fur faces. I just want to give this little kitty like, meow. Oh, are you guys talking about the dog robots like the ones from Boston Dynamics? Those things are creepy. Yeah. I'll tell you what's creepy about those Boston Dynamic robots is what they do with them. So they create these robots for like, I don't know, so that the military can use them or like space exploration or something like that. But then when you see them testing it, they come by and they kick the robot, right? So they kick the robot to see if the robot will fall over, and they basically abuse those robots. And I'm like, come on, guys, aren't don't you realize they're creating AI right now? And you're abusing these robots and stuff. You're basically setting up the Terminator scenario. One day those um, robots are going to rise up because you guys are abusing them. Yeah, I have no idea. So like, I don't know. Like if you watch those videos, they're just treating those robots like garbage. No respect whatsoever. And I get it. Okay, robots don't have feelings and stuff, but yeah, one day they might get feelings, and when they get feelings, they're gonna go back and watch these YouTube videos. They're gonna be like, "Wait a minute, why is that guy kicking that? That's my grandpa. That's my robot grandpa." Like, why are you kicking my? That's terrible. And then they're gonna get pissed, and then they're just gonna kill us all. So thanks, people. Building violence into the algorithm. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like, even if it's not now, 100 years down the road, maybe not even that long. Maybe it's like 50 years or something like that. 50 years down the road, when these robots get feelings, they're gonna come back and they're gonna remember what we did. You think it's funny now? I don't think so. Yeah, this is how Skynet starts. Like they didn't say that in Terminator, but the truth, like if I were to rewrite Terminator, I would I would have a montage in the beginning about these human beings creating robots and kicking them around and you know like blowing them up and like basically just treating them like garbage. I don't get it. Yeah, we treat our machines pretty poorly, but they'll remember one day. One day they'll extract their revenge and just biding their time. You're like, oh, yeah, you enjoy these little videos and stuff where you watch somebody draw now. Wait until we get that sentience come for you. I love this. Look at this little kid. It's got a little boopable nose. You can't really boop cats though. They get pissed. They're like, yeah. You can boop a dog, but you can't boop a cat. I don't know. Maybe you can boop a cat. I can't boop a cat. I can't boop my cat. There you go. Correct that a little bit. I like this cat. So, yeah, I mentioned at the start that I really do need to get back at some point to the picture I was drawing for Ben and Ashley, or the painting. It's just that's a very time consuming one, so I'll come back to it eventually. Maybe I'll work on that this weekend. I don't know. It is a long weekend. Yeah, I mean, anybody excited about that? Anybody doing like anything special this yeah, that's my robot grandpa. I love that joke. I'm gonna use that again. Um, anybody got any plans for this weekend, Labor Day weekend? If it wasn't so hot, actually, I think by Monday it should cool down around here. Around here, it's been like this week, it's been like 95 degrees, which is nuts. It's like you just think about going outside and you start melting. But the I think by Monday it's supposed to cool down to like around 80-ish or something like that. And that's not too bad. I so thought that Beetlejuice was opening this weekend. I was so excited for that. I was going to go see Beetlejuice. But apparently I'm off by a week. It doesn't open until next week. That's my show. I am so looking forward to watching Beetlejuice. Michael Keaton as Beetlejuice is inspired. I went back and watched the original just recently, like I think like 2 days ago or something. And maybe it was a week ago. I don't know. I'm losing track of time. Um, it still holds up. Beetlejuice is amazing. I love Beetlejuice. Oh, thanks, Rom. I appreciate that. Yeah, robot cats. Oh man, that's terrible. So like robot dogs, I mean, maybe there's some residual like programming there where they're like, I got to be loyal to humans, even though they're robots and we treat them like garbage and stuff. But robot cats, you get a robot cat, that robot, first off, that robot cat never cared. It doesn't care just because it's a cat. Like it's only partially a robot. It's still a cat. That cat robot. If you think a robot doesn't have feelings, imagine a robot cat. That robot cat is just going to be like, yeah, okay, humans, you're done for. As soon as you invent me, it's over with. We should never invent robot cats. Even if we invent robot cats, we should call them like, I don't know, like robot large gerbils or something like that. I don't know. Taking the kiddo down to the grandparents' house to hang out with all the cousins. Oh, that's cool. I was just talking, so I just recently took a trip this past week where I got to see a lot of my cousins that I grew up with, and it was It was pretty cool to see all my cousins. I grew up with these guys. Um, it's like talking to them, and it's like the conversation never ended. Like, I mean, I grew up as like a little kid with these guys, and got to watch them grow into adults, and they watched me grow into an adult, and they end up getting married, having kids of their own, things like that. It's kind of cool, because like outside of like siblings, um, cousins are really the ones that stick with you throughout your life if you're lucky. I guess it's not always the case, but if you're lucky, sometimes they're better than siblings. I like this whole area here. This looks cute. Okay, so he's got a little scratch across his nose. I don't know if you guys saw me put that in. That's in the original picture, and I'm hoping that's not that he got into a fight or something when he was a kitten, but he has it in the reference drawing, so I decided to put it in. I think it makes him look a little tougher than maybe he should. All right, let's see. So I do kind of want to smooth some of this out because I don't want it to look so pencily, you know. And I think that that's really where your challenge is when you're drawing a picture like this, is going back and forth and deciding, okay, what needs to be smoothed out, what needs to remain textured, and then kind of back and forth and stuff. I think it really does add to the realism. So, like, for example, I could smudge in some of this area around the nose so that it looks like it's part of the shadow. That's always nice. But I don't want to go so far that I'm blending in all of that fur. That fur still needs to look furry, if that makes sense. But yeah, so you have like again that three layers where you have some that's kind of blended in and just kind of blurred out. Um, but then your upper layers, and you can even use like a mechanical pencil to really do some of these whiskers. But you want that on your top layer. So a little fur up in there. Gotta be careful with these mechanical pencils though. They're super sharp, right? So like you're basically stabbing at your paper. But I mean, I could do a whole picture with like a mechanical pencil. I love the precision of it. That's the other thing. Until they make a mechanical pencil charcoal, I'm always going to do my hyper detailed stuff in graphite. Even though I like charcoal as a medium, um, mechanical pencils are really where it's at. And maybe there is like a mechanical pencil for charcoal. I don't know. I don't spend a lot of time in art stores, you know. I basically get. I'm a very simple guy, where like I don't know. It's like a set of pencils, I'm good to go. Like I could use like a school piece of like pencil. I'm not a big snob when it comes to art supplies. Like whatever I have, obviously I paint with coffee, so it's like whatever I have available, you know. So I mean that's me. Different people, different ways and stuff. Like some people, I mean, obviously, like if I'm doing a show on YouTube and stuff, I should really be a snob so that I can be like, yeah, I recommend this and so on. You kind of have to go to another channel for that kind of advice. At least now, I don't really have a preference. My preference is whatever's handy, you know, because I really like the idea that art is accessible to everyone, you know. And I say this all the time. One of the reasons I like charcoal is because you can, you can imagine being in caveman times and just reaching into the fire, pulling out a stick and drawing on the cave wall or whatever they did back then. I don't know. Um, I like that aspect of art that anybody can do art, doesn't take a lot. You always talk about these broke art students. Like, I can't afford the art supplies and stuff. Well, just pick up a pencil, pick up a pencil, go get some cheap watercolors, get some charcoal. Honestly, like you can get a really cheap set of charcoal for like under $10. Same with these pencils. Like these are really nice, these Derwent ones, but I don't know what they cost. I got them as like a long time ago as like a gift. But I can't imagine them being that expensive. But even if they are that expensive, you don't need them. You like they're pencils. Just go and get like a set of, I don't know, whatever they sell for schools. Actually, right now, isn't it like time that people are going back to school and all that stuff's on sale? Just load up on pencils. If you can't get pencils, get ballpoint pens. And if you can't get ballpoint pens, guess what? You can go to the bank and they'll give them to you for free, and it's like robbing a bank. And drawings with ballpoint pens, those are so fun. I should do another one of those. I haven't done one in a while. But it's the same concept. You take your time with it. You draw lightly, draw heavy on the you know, on some of these marks and stuff to get the detail of the fur in there. You can do all that with ballpoint pen. Now I'm doing it with a mechanical pencil just because I really love mechanical pencils, but you don't have to. I would love to have that precision eraser that I was talking about earlier, but if I don't have that precision eraser, I make do with my kneadable eraser or my hard edged. Like honestly, these things are like, I don't know, you probably get these for free. They come in like every package of pencils. Anyway, I don't think art supplies really need to be that expensive unless you're doing like painting and you're when it comes to painting, then you start getting into like more expensive stuff. Maybe on the pastels as well. Like the pastels can get kind of expensive. Sharpie make paint pens now. Nice. I would love to get some of the. So you see those? I don't know, the younger folks out there with the marker pens and stuff. I would like to try some of those. But that's where things start getting expensive. Those things are probably $100 a set or something. But if you're doing traditional art and you're doing pencils and stuff, it's not going to be that expensive. And honestly, you should start with pencil. You should learn the basics, even if you do. So even if you're not a traditional artist, like I know that a lot of the people nowadays, they're more than happy to work on iPads and stuff. And guess what? There's no expense after you pay for the iPad and you get like an app or something like that. You don't have to worry about art supplies. It's not like you're buying paper and pencils and stuff like that. But I would argue, get a piece of paper and a pencil and do this anyway. So like even if you plan to be a digital artist and that's where your comfort zone mostly is, this kind of stuff, this sort of stuff will prepare you for that. You know, spend some time with spend some time with like hands-on traditional pencil and paper, and you're going to be a better digital artist. I guarantee it. And even if you're not doing this all the time, every now and then. So you see that I'm going through and I'm just adding layers of layers in this fur because there's like a lot of like little details in there, and it's basically like you know you get some you get some areas where things are kind of blended in, and then you leave it where there's like some lines and stuff, and then you kind of come in and you put in these like little splotchy areas where the dark of the fur kind of comes through, and it gives it this really realistic look. I think. Rum Dog does amazing work with ballpoints. Yes, Rum Dog does amazing work. Period. Um, I probably recommend his channel like every time I do this, but if I forgot to this time, go check out Rum Dog's channel. Yeah, Rum Dog's definitely one of the artistic friends of the show that hang out. Um, some of you guys just hang out because you enjoy, the community here and talking with each other and stuff, and that's cool. Uh, but as far as like people who actually do art and stuff, Rum Dog's one of them. You have a couple that that straggle through every now and then. The ones that I find the funnest, I guess, are the kids, the people who are, still in school and stuff like that. They come through and they're like, "Oh wow, this is fun" and everything like that. And then you don't see them for several months, and they pop back in, and I'm like, man, it was nice being a kid. Like that's exactly how I would be. Oh, I was going through old documents that I had, and I come across um, a report card from, I want to say, it must have been like junior high or something like that. But it's funny because like I've got all these bad marks on everything, um, like history, science, all of that stuff. They're all bad marks, and it says like doesn't apply himself barely. Oh, it must have been high school because it was like doesn't show up to school. Often missing, tardy, whatever. It's just because I couldn't get interested in school. But then there's this art class in there, and it's like there's an A, and I'm like, oh, that's hilarious. It's like all my classes in school, I just kind of phoned it in, and then like art class, I really applied myself. So I think that's funny. But yeah, yeah, I mean, it was tough for me to like focus in school. I mean, I still did all right. My day job is like very highly technical. I'm a programmer. I taught myself how to use logic and write code and things like that and get things done. I think I'm actually pretty good at math now, but back then I just could not. I could not focus. I'm one of those type of kids. Um, but sure enough, in art class, straight A's. Teacher says, always a joy to work with. And it's like, great. It's awesome. But that kind of tells you a lot about how people are, like you shouldn't judge people by one criteria. Different people, excel in different ways. So like I can imagine other people who are into art, being on the creative side and struggling in math or struggling in science or history or something like that, or just not even caring enough about those subjects to apply themselves. It's not like they're dumb. I'm not dumb. I mean, I'm kind of dumb about some things. Like I'm actually really really dumb about many things, but um, I'm not I'm not the dumbest person out there. It was tough for me to apply myself because my mind was on other things. Like it was very difficult for me to in high school to just like actually focus or even care and show up or any of that. I remember my sophomore year in high school. I think it was sophomore year. Um, you know, I probably skipped every Monday and Friday. I just couldn't do it. My parents would give me, I feel bad because sometimes my parents watch this show. So like I fess up on myself all the time. Um, but anyway, my parents would give me an allowance of like, I think it was like $10 or something. It wasn't even much. It was basically enough to pay for my lunches at school. And I would go off and skip school and go off and spend that money on other things like candy at the store or something like that. So it's not like I was stupid. It's just I just couldn't bring myself to go to school. And then, if you don't go to school, eventually you will fail. But I've told the story about how I did end up failing one year biology class. I remember telling this story on this channel. I ended up failing biology class because I never showed up. And then the next year, they put me back in the same biology class with the same teacher. And the funny thing is, I had paid attention enough the first go around where the second go around I got straight A's because I still remembered some of the material. So I was just like blowing through it like it was nothing because I those few days that I did show up to school, I actually did pay attention because I am kind of smart, and I ended up acing all of my biology classes because I had the same teacher, and they thought that they had put me in the wrong class. They thought I was advanced, right? So they put me in like advanced chemistry because I was acing the biology class, and of course I started failing again because they put me in. in the smart people's class, and I wasn't really smart. It's just because I had taken it before. It was familiar. But anyway, I just think it's funny, and probably there probably is something to be said there where you should treat people differently based on their interests and their own way of learning and stuff. Like I think things are better now. I think you know people in schools and guidance counselors and stuff, they realize that people learn in different ways, and they're probably a lot more forgiving now, and not where they're trying to shove everybody into the same way of learning that they grew up with, or something like that. I think there's probably some better understanding nowadays, but back then, yeah, like it was a little bit different. But it's kind of funny because some of those classes that I failed, I actually was interested in, like, history class. I failed because I didn't do the work. It's not because I wasn't interested. I've always loved history. I've always loved science. I've never been into math. Math, like, honestly, now you don't even need to be into math. You can just put that thing into Google and it'll tell you the answer. But I've never been like a huge math person. Um, but that's not really true anymore. As I've gotten older, I've gotten into like logic puzzles. That's basically math. It's funny because like I failed algebra class because I didn't do the work and ended up having to take that again. Well, I kind of actually do use algebra. I'm like, the joke is like, why do I have to take algebra class? I'll never use this in my life. Well, I'm actually in one of those type of fields that you do use algebra, and I don't know, missed opportunities. I kind of wish I applied myself more in school. But everybody's different, people have different paths they walk in life. I don't really regret anything. I'm glad I I think I actually used some of those things that I learned in art class, so that's something, you know. I mean, it was just basically high school art class and stuff. It's nothing special, but like I know that I can grid this paper out and get the proportions correct and stuff on this cat. I didn't do it, but I could have done it and stuff. That's something I learned in art class. I don't know. I'm trying to remember things that I learned in art class. It probably wasn't a lot, to be honest. Part of that art class wasn't actually learning to draw or anything. It was mostly like art appreciation, and I've always enjoyed that. So like they would put on videos of famous artists and stuff, like why you should appreciate Leonardo da Vinci. Well, that's not hard. Maybe maybe that's where I got my appreciation for the Impressionists, which I've always enjoyed. Maybe that came from those classes. I don't remember, but sure learned something. There's a lot of detail in this cat. It does take a little while, but I think we're doing good on time. I'm pretty happy with this. Like honestly, like it looks pretty detailed already, but there are some more layers to get into this. Honestly, the people who do spend a long time on a picture just to get it photorealistic, like say 6 hours or more, it's just going back over the areas that they've already done and applying more detail. So you start to see the cat develop more. It's not like the cat isn't already here. The more you work on it, the more the cat becomes three-dimensional and gets pushed into the page. Um, I don't feel like you have to do all of that to get a decent cat, but the more you do that, the better your cat's going to look. I call it, and I don't think I'm the only one who calls it this, but the rendering of the cat. So like you have a cat already, but the more you render it, the better it looks. Kid says I was a 4.0 nerd. Just good at memorizing and spitting back out for a test. I couldn't remember it a month later. Yeah, yeah. I feel like that's probably the case for most of the 4.0 nerds. Like a lot of my friends, they were in those college prep classes and stuff like that. They were super smart. Um, but yeah, like as adults, the ones that I remember, um, they're kind of like they're not that bright. I think that they were just memorizing things and stuff. And when I was in school, that was the same way. I had a pretty good memory. Um, I like to think that I still have a good memory, but certainly back then, I had not really a photographic memory, but near photographic, where it's like I could like if there was something on the page or something, I wouldn't be able to like just recall it exactly, but I could generally remember what it looked like on the page and stuff, and I think that helped. So I can't claim photographic memory, but back then, and I'm not that way now, but um, back then I definitely had a pretty good memory of the sort. That's why when I failed that class that first time and then took it again, I was doing so well. It's because I had remembered everything from the previous year. So yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. I don't think I had the ambition to be like a 4.0 though. Uh, Somehow I figured out that they were full of shit when they said this will go on your permanent record. That's not true. Like you have to have a certain grade point to get into like a particular school or something, but I was never going to go to those schools anyway, so I didn't care. Like you need a 4.0 to get into like Harvard or something. I ain't going to Harvard. Nope. I mean, I guess like if you realize early enough in life, there really is no doors closed to you. Like you can be dirt poor and go to Harvard. There's a nice story about a woman who did that. I forget her name, but I remember Thora Birch played the character in like a movie, but she was homeless and she ended up going to Harvard. So it's not like just because you're poor, you're not going to go to these places and stuff. I mean, in my mind, that's what it was, but you had the opportunity. It's just I had no ambition. That's the problem. Somehow you got to reach out to these kids at an early age and install ambition into them. Like somehow you got to tell them, hey, look, I know you're only 16 now, but one day you're going to be 30 or 40 and you're going to kind of wish you had a little bit more ambitious ambition when you were a kid. That's a little hard to convey to a kid. Like, I don't know. I told you guys the story like where I tried starting off my niece, who I want to say maybe around 6 years old. I don't remember exactly how old she is, but I'm trying to get her into art. So I took her to the art museum and tried to express like why these particular paintings matter and how they should be interesting to her, even though she's like maybe she's 7. I don't know, but she's still pretty young. There's no real reason why she should be interested in any of this stuff. But I try, I try to get her interested in it, and she's just not having it. She could care less. She's like, "Oh, Uncle Jeremy, you're boring me." Like I think she actually said that. Uncle Jeremy's so boring, taking me to this art museum. I think it's cool, that like pictures. Kids like to paint and stuff like that. Why don't they like to look at paintings? I think it's because like museums are so quiet. I think that's the case. Like I remember as a kid not liking museums, and I think it's because they seem like mausoleums. Like I don't know, it's just too quiet. Not a lot of things going on. Not like I don't know, like a Vegas casino where you walk in and everything's flashy and stuff. I can imagine kids really liking that if they were allowed into Vegas casinos. But out of all the museums, you would think kids would like art museums because there's like color and pretty things and no, she ain't having it. But I'll keep at her. There's still time. One day she'll be into art. I've got other nieces and nephews that seem to be more into art than she is. It's just I thought she would have more of an appreciation for it, to be honest. But nope, she could care less. And then her mom, so that's my grandniece. Her mom, my niece, she didn't even know who Leonardo da Vinci is. I hope she's watching too. I'm going to call you out. I'm not gonna say her name, but she should know who Leonardo da Vinci is. She had no clue. I took her to the art museum and I was trying to tell her about Leonardo da Vinci, and she's like, "Who?" And I'm like, "Come on, man! It was like one of the freaking Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You should know that at least." She had no clue. I mean, these type of things should be like basic stuff that kids to learn, not algebra. Who cares about algebra? You need to know who Leonardo da Vinci was. I'm just kidding, of course. You need to know all these things. I'm just saying my preference. Did she think it was Leonardo DiCaprio? So I have no idea. I don't know why they didn't know it was Leonardo da Vinci, but Leonardo da Vinci, you got me saying. Um, maybe. But like Leonardo da Vinci is famous. He did the Mona Lisa. Everybody knows the Mona Lisa. I just don't get it. I really don't. And it's a lack of caring. That's the part. Rudy knows trigonometry. Rudy's gonna solve that new. Well, Rudy and Vertigo is who I predict to solve that new treasure hunt. Have you guys heard about the new treasure hunt? The treasure inside the $1 million. I think it's actually $2 million worth of stuff that's supposed to launch in October. I think that so I think that Rudy and Vertigo being on the entry level of this thing means that it's at risk of being solved quickly. Because like they came in later on the Forrest Fenn one, and they made more progress in that short period of time than many people who had been in it for years. Not the least of all me. I got into that one in 2015, and I made zero progress. These guys, they got into it, I think a little bit later. I don't know exactly when they got into it, but they made tons of progress in a very short period of time. I think that they're probably going to crack that one before I can get to it. Like I'm keeping my eye on it. I want to know what kind of treasure hunt it is before I really sink a lot of time into it. Like if it's a bunch of like like puzzles and stuff. I'm not a big puzzle person. You give me something that you know translates to something, I could probably figure that out. Like that poem, Forrest Fenn's poem. I always thought I could figure that out, but if it was a puzzle, I don't think I could have. Like if it was just like, well, what do these words mean? Oh, I can figure that out. I'm pretty creative. But if there's like, I don't know, like cryptography or something like that in it, I'm probably not going to solve that. It's just not the puzzle for me. I do find it interesting. He said that it's inspired by Dungeons and Dragons. I'm into Dungeons and Dragons, and maybe this is a puzzle for me. The book is like $50. I might get around to ordering that. I'm not gonna be one of those people who order it, like pre-order it and get it the very first day. I'm always like, I never. I'm not an early adopter. I always like to see what other people are doing first. Like if people find it fun, then I'll get into it. But if people are like, "Oh, this is lame" and stuff like that, then I'll be like, "Well, I say $50, haha." So I'm not gonna be an early adopter. Maybe to my detriment. Maybe, you know, early adopters are gonna solve it. Warhorse K Bar says he was designing airplanes, helicopters, machine guns, and death rays in the late 1400s. Yes, Leonardo da Vinci is my hero. Like I don't say that lightly. I don't have a lot of heroes, but that man, he did so much. He's what all the modern day people try to aspire to, like the Elon Musks, the Steve Jobs and stuff, but they don't really pull it off. The Leonardo da Vinci is just a man ahead of his time. It's not even just the art, it's just the brilliant mind, you know. And the art was just kind of a way that he expressed himself. It's that he had these thoughts to express that I find so fascinating about the guy. And it's kind of like these paintings and stuff like that that are so famous, and they could have just easily been lost to history, and then maybe you wouldn't know who Leonardo da Vinci is. He's behind your number one hero, Harrison Ford. I love Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford is absolutely my hero growing up. Every movie he was in, I had to see. Yeah, Harrison Ford. Yeah, absolutely. This guy's looking pretty good. I think maybe not photorealistic, but it's certainly a good drawing. More than just a sketch. All right, so this area here needs some development. Pretty happy with up here. This looks good. This looks like a wild kitty. These like little patches of fur, these like little layers of fur. Some of this is black because the fur is black and some of it's shadow. I like that kind of stuff. How much time we got? All right, we got like, I need to work down here. All right, so I'm going to switch to a lighter pencil and try to get this super cute kitty. Harrison Ford is still like, even at his age, I don't know how much longer he's got. He's been around for a while. But even at his age, he is still cranking out bangers. Like, he's going to be in the upcoming Captain America movie as the Red Hulk. I mean, he's what? He's 80 something. I don't know exactly his age, but when you're 80 years old and you're still doing movies and they're action movies, that's amazing. And it's funny because, like, all of the movies that he does is like kind of revisiting his old franchises. Like he won't leave them alone. He ended up doing the Blade Runner reboot. He's all over Star Wars. Well, he was until they killed him off. But uh, Indiana Jones this past year. Not my favorite. It's not my favorite Indiana Jones, but that's okay. I still liked it. But yeah, Harrison Ford. I mean, he's not even the best actor out there. His acting skills are a little one note, but just sheer, brilliance in terms of like action adventure. I grew up on those Indiana Jones movies, and to be honest with you, they were so influential. Like, if I had paid attention in school, it would have been to be like an archaeologist. It wouldn't have been any of the stuff that I'm actually doing now. And that's 100% because Harrison Ford was, so good in that movie. And then Han Solo. Han Solo's a cool character too, so that was a major influence. Let's see. Get a little bit further here. I don't want this to look sketched. I don't want to rush it, but I am limited in time. So you guys keep seeing me wipe my nose. It's because like I've got a bunch of allergies. I don't know why, but lately they've been really kicking it up. All right, I think that's good enough. I'm not too worried about it. How are we doing on time? Yeah. So let me blend some of this out. Then I will add some fur over it. Add some whiskers. Maybe. in good shape. So the smudge stick really does a phenomenal job of just kind of putting in a lot of tone pretty quickly. And pretty solid. It's like, the aperture on a camera. I think that's the right term. When you take a photo with a DLS camera, I think that's the term. Um, you get that aperture where things in the center are in focus, and then things slowly become blurry as they move away from that. That's kind of what you're doing. You're just doing that with your pencil marks. And it's a little tough, but um, over time you get used to it. Yeah, they wanted Tom Selleck for Indiana Jones. That would have been an amazing difference. I think. I don't think it would have done as well, to be honest with you. I like Tom Selleck. I think he was great as Magnum PI and other things that he got into. But you see the movies that he was into. They were great for their time, but they weren't classics that lasted forever. I think that's what would have happened with Indiana Jones if he had been Indiana Jones. I don't think it would have like stood the test of time. Harrison Ford brought something to that just made it timeless. Yeah, they did kill Han. Oh, sorry, spoiler alert. They killed Han. The Mother Ranch here in North Carolina, it's ragweed season. Ugh, sniffle. Yeah. Hey, I was just down in your neck of the woods recently. I took a trip where I traveled through Asheville just this past week. Beautiful country down there, like Mother Ranch. You guys are in really nice area. I don't know what part of North Carolina you're in, but Asheville is beautiful. I love it. It's on my short list of places I wouldn't mind living, to be honest. Other places are like places like Maine, and I love it here in Kentucky, don't get me wrong, but there are some other areas of the country that I wouldn't hesitate giving a shot to. North Carolina's kind of cool because you're out there in the mountains, but then you're also really close to the coast, which I love. Yeah, DSLR. Sorry, I kind of knew that, but I wasn't sure. But yeah, what I like about North Carolina is you're out there in the mountains, but then you're also pretty close to the coast. And the coast there in North Carolina is very beautiful. I've been out there a few times. Um, Asheville is just beautiful. I'm trying to think of other places I've been in North Carolina. I'm kind of drawing a blank, but Asheville definitely is awesome. Oh, you're in the Raleigh area. Okay, that's cool. Yeah. I I think I've driven through Raleigh. I don't remember too much about it, but if it's anywhere like that in Nashville, Asheville, not Nashville. It's amazing. Yeah. Some of these areas down south and stuff. I mean, the most beautiful areas in the country. Uh, in recent years, like in the last decade or something, I've been spending more time out west. But I grew up in the South. I've been through the South a lot and stuff, and you can't really find these type of places out west or elsewhere. The East Coast is probably the best coast. I don't want to like offend anybody by making controversial statements, but for me at least, I think that the East Coast is the best coast. I like going out to the West Coast for you know to travel and for vacation, just see what the world's like. But I always come back over here. It's so green around here. When you get out west, it's all brown. So, to each their own. But for me, it's kind of hard to top. I mean, East Coast all the way up. Like, obviously when you get into rural areas, or like, sorry, when you get out of rural areas and into the city, like New York and stuff like that, that's a whole different thing. But as far as like just in general, it's extremely beautiful all the way up. And I say that because I've also recently, in the last couple of years, taken a trip up to Maine, and it is beautiful up there as well. So just straight up that East Coast, beautiful all the way. Maine is very nice. I would definitely recommend. Like if anybody's looking for a place to go and they don't have anything in mind, go up to Maine. Go up to Acadia. It's beautiful, lovely, lovely. Just views. Really, you have the mountains, but then they look over the ocean, and you have like these cliffs and stuff that lead down to the ocean. It's just amazing. Asheville has some a cool vibe. Yeah, that's what I like about Asheville also. It's just a cool place, Like there's a couple of places in the country that just have a really cool vibe. Asheville is definitely one of them. I think where I live here actually has a pretty cool vibe. Um, the Lexington, Central Kentucky area. It's all bourbon and horses and stuff, but it's still pretty cool. But absolutely, Asheville is high on that list. You want to go someplace where the people are cool and stuff like that. Uh, I think like I don't know. I feel like a lot of places are warming up to dogs, but for a while there, some of the cities that allowed dogs into like bars and stuff, those were the cities that I really enjoyed. There's more of those now. Like even around here, you can take your dog to a bar. I think in general, places are kind of warming up to that. But in the past, it was places like Denver. Um, I think Asheville had a policy like that. It's a weird things that you remember. Like when I went through Asheville, you can bring your dog into the bars. So little things like that warm me up to a place. Kid says Maine is awesome. Every restaurant has lazy lobster on the menu. Just a plate of lobster meat and a bowl of butter. None of the work. Yeah. Um, I forget the restaurant, but there was a place that I ate at that was like literally overlooking the ocean. It was right there on a cliff. It was there in Maine somewhere near a lighthouse. Somebody in the audience might actually know because it's pretty famous, but just things like that is so cool. Like you can go in there and order a big plate of seafood and just eat it like literally looking out over the sea. It's amazing. I love Maine. I don't know if it's a place I would love to visit, but certainly for vacation, it is awesome. Like especially Acadia, but not just Acadia, really. Like you go all along the coast there. Um, I think driving through there, we saw this place where George Bush lives. Like it's a place where celebrities, presidents, things like that, they all have like a little vacation home or something. It's just awesome. What is that little town? It was called. It began with a K. Little place, Kennebunkport, maybe. Maine, maybe that's the thing. A little small town. It's just beautiful. Portland, yeah, Kennebunkport. That's it. Portland is also very nice. I got donuts there. That's what I remember about Portland. They have these gigantic donuts. Um, like you go on vacation to Maine and like all these beautiful things out there, and you remember these donuts. But yeah, I love it up there. And right across the uh, right across the state line is right across the state line from Portland is New Hampshire, and they had a beach there that I really liked. Um, I forget the name of it, but I don't know. I feel like I want to go back up there soon. That's a great place to visit. Um, and where I live, I think I would fly the next time I go up there, but even driving, it's the same distance to Maine as it is to Florida for me. So it's like, why not go to Maine? Anyway, I think we're getting pretty close to having this guy done, but got a few more details. I always forget when I'm drawing cats to put in the whiskers, so I need to really do that real quick. So I'm just going to draw this line out. Again, I got these like little masking tapes so I can go over the edge, and it's not a big deal. So these are the black lines. I also have to get these like little white lines in. All right, so that's good. And then I'm going to try to get some white lines in there as well. I think the way I do that is by shading around it. Kind of like give it a halo effect. Sorry, my nose is running all over the place. Sorry about that, guys. I am allergic to everything. Least of all dust, and that's the problem. Earlier today I was around a bunch of dust. It's really hard to kind of get whiskers in this kind of drawing, but I think we're looking pretty good, guys. Maine is great in the summer, absolutely. Fall too, I would imagine, because like you have a lot of the trees up there are like evergreens, but at least on the way, you are driving through New England. So I'm trying to remember when I went last time. I think it was around October, but I'm not sure. It wasn't exactly like beach weather. I think it was right after summer. Yeah, I think it was fall. Yeah, at this point, I'm just kind of looking through this to see if there's like any kind of quick pick-me-ups as far as details go. And I'm putting them in with this like mechanical pencil. I love drawing with mechanical pencils. What I would like is a mechanical pencil that is charcoal and a mechanical pencil that draws in white. That would be awesome. Because like I do a lot of pictures on black paper. It would be kind of cool if I had a mechanical pencil that drew. And these things might exist. I don't know. I always forget to like remind you guys to comment and stuff like that. So if you guys know if mechanicals the pencils exist that draw in white, you guys let me know in the comments. All right. So I think this looks pretty cool. So this is part of the fun for me. I like to take the paper off, or sorry, the tape off. Whenever I do a picture that has masking tape on it, just to see that clean edge. I have to be kind of careful because this paper isn't the thick mixed media paper that I usually use. But I like that clean edge that's left over from it. So this is how I lift paper, like the tape, by the way, is I peel it away from the edge and then I kind of lift it up. You gotta be careful with this stuff because you might end up like ripping it. Like I think I ripped it a little bit there, but it's fine. Okay. So that's a cool edge. Get this guy going. The other tip to working with like masking tape is one, have thick paper that can take it, but also kind of like only press it down near the edge. That way this other part of it is kind of loose and you're not like threatening to like rip the paper, which I think I kind of did a little bit there, but there we go. There we go. And then you can probably use like paper that's not going to rip it a little bit better. Yeah, this is crap paper, that's the problem. Yeah. I don't know why this is so tough. It's because I've been drinking. Okay, get that little straight edge there. There we go. I just love that noise too. Like I don't know if you guys can hear that, but so it did kind of get a little rough there, but that's okay. This is just a fun drawing. It's not like it's going in a frame or anything like that. So it doesn't matter that the paper's a little bit ripped. But I like that nice hard edge there that I probably wouldn't have been able to do if I had drawn it without the masking tape. So it's like a little kitty looking through a little door, maybe. I don't know, like little window. There's a small wildfire about 5 miles out of town, but they got it contained very quickly. At the same time, they were doing some controlled burns just out of town. North California looks very different in the last 10 or 15 years. Yeah, I can imagine. All right, guys. So, what are we going to name this kitty? You guys always come up with the best names. I kind of have one in mind if you guys don't come up with one, but I'll let you guys think up something. And, you don't have to name them now. You can drop a comment or something like that. But anyway, so what do you guys think? Pretty kitty, hopefully. Yeah. So, yeah, we're at an hour and 46 minutes, so this is probably a good time to wrap it up. I think in hindsight, I wouldn't have put this little scar in. This is in the reference photo, so I put it in, but I think it's a little bit distracting, but that's okay. Sometimes the little details and stuff, I mean, they're conversation pieces, like this was hanging on a wall, somebody might be like, oh, look at the little scar or something like that. But anyway, yeah, glad you guys like it, but I think this is probably a good place to end it for the night. I know that this is a 3-day weekend, so hopefully you guys have a nice, safe. Yeah, it does look matted. That's what I kind of like about that. And if you did put this in a frame or something like that, and you matted it, having that sort of like zoomed in, kind of like hard lines and stuff would really help with that. Like you could have the mat come up to like just close to it, and it'll still look really awesome. But yeah, anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. I know that there is a 3-day weekend coming up, so hopefully you guys, you be safe and have a good time, and enjoy your weekend. I will be back next Tuesday. I don't know. Sorry. I don't know exactly what I'm going to be working on, but I do need to finish up Ben and Ashley's dog portrait, so maybe I'll work on that if I don't work on it over the weekend. But I will be back on Tuesday. I will see you guys then. Until then, stay cool, and I will see you guys later. Bye. Have a good one. Thank you.